recognized symbol of excellence in sports entertainment.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wrestling Network. It's Bilski here, along with Mark76 himself, Mark Lindsay.
Hey, everybody.
Mr. Zach Lindley. Hey, listen, we're going to call you Mr. Can you identify yourself, sir, in the proper way as the man behind the curtain, the guy who gives us all the graphics that makes Mark's material look so good? Please introduce yourself.
This is Deli0316, everybody. It's Zach. Good to see you all.
Listen to those pipes, man. Listen to you. You talk about a guy with a voice. I mean, Zach, you got the pipes, brother. Well, hey, guys, we are here for a very momentous occasion. We are here for a very momentous occasion. We are here because we are honoring the 30th anniversary of the 1992 Royal Rumble. I'm sure you guys all remember it. We've watched it several times in the past, but as far as I'm concerned, this is probably, if not the greatest Royal Rumble ever, simply because of what was at stake for the first time ever, the World Wrestling Federation Championship, as Zach proudly holds up his Winged Eagle, the exact title they're actually vying for in this Royal Rumble. A who's who, Mark, Zach, of who was in this Royal Rumble. You got the Nature Boy Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Sid Justice, Vicious. You have the Texas Tornado. You have the British Bulldog, $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, a who's who of Hall of Famers and legends in this. Arguably one of the most star-studded Royal Rumbles ever, and certainly, as I mentioned, with what was on the line, the first time ever in history. At this point, I believe this is what, the fifth or sixth one?
This is number 5.
This was the fifth one that the WWF Championship was actually up for grabs in the Royal Rumble. So let me just get your thoughts. I guess, Zach, we'll start with you. What your thoughts about this Royal Rumble, your memories of it?
I was just telling Mark before you got in, Bill, that I was 10. This is the first Rumble I saw on pay-per-view. The first one I watched was 91, rented it, Coliseum home video. 91 was okay. But, man, 92, you talk about the stakes being high. This is kind of what I always felt like after watching that every year. You know, either the championship's on the line or, you know, the following year, that's when they started doing it. The winner got a shot at the champion.
Right.
So, yeah, I was, like I said, I was 10, watched it with my grandparents and my sister. And, you know, there wasn't any, you know, what's the word I'm trying to think of here? Not really so much, you know, opening match guys. These were mid-card main event guys in this thing all the way through.
Right. And Mark, when you look at this thing overall, I mean, we're talking about the star-studded cast of the 30 participants in this, and yeah, you got some guys that weren't exactly main eventers, but when you look at all 30 participants in this, I mean, you're looking at basically, as I mentioned, a who's who and a list of legends and Hall of Famers that I would suggest up until this point, it's really hard to, from the 4 previous up to this point, from 88 through 91, don't get me wrong, they were good, but I think after this one, Mark, and I agree with me or not, you know, certainly I want your thoughts on this, but I think after this was a really tough act to follow. Would you not agree?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, as I was preparing what I was going to say during this opening segment here, you know, they really could have gone in any direction. To determine a world champion in a battle royal form, they could have pulled the trigger and maybe had Jake Roberts or The Undertaker or I'm not saying Kerry Von Erich or Rick Martel, but they could have done pretty much anything. And they chose to go with Flair, the 60-minute man.
Right.
And that kind of just set the tone. And you're right, you couldn't really follow it. Because think of it just
should have been Flair, Hogan.
We're not going to spoil anything, but spoiler, Ric Flair draws number 3.
Right.
So even though they knew that Flair was going to go an hour, he didn't draw number 1 or number 2. Which was something that we saw in years down the road with Shawn Michaels pulling number 1 and winning it. So you said there wasn't really many ways to top it. There wasn't, but they saved it for a chance when they could.
Right.
Which was great to see. And real quick before we dive in, like you said, there was a who's who in this match, but there was a who on the entire card. Roddy Piper won the Intercontinental title.
Hot Rod double duty that night, guys.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And Legion of Doom defended the World Tag Team. So there was a all-star cast on this show, top to bottom.
There really was. And you mentioned the Legion of Doom defending their WWF Tag Team Championship against the Natural Disasters. Heck of a promo by Hawk before that. Sure.
Wasn't it the opening match, the Orient Express against High Energy?
I believe you
Soko
are
and
correct.
Owen. Yeah, man,
Correct.
those guys went forever.
Yep, that was a heck of a tag team match.
Yeah.
In fact, the year before that, it started out with a tag team match. It was the Rockers and the Orient Express. So, they really have good lead-up matches leading to this, but it's at the Knickerbocker Arena, January 19th, 1992, and you said you were in what grade, Zach?
I was in 4th grade. I was 10. You guys were teenagers, right?
I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah. I was a senior, so I was in my senior year in high school. This
30
was
years ago. Wow.
This is one of the first ones that I ever saw on video cassette, and this was a Coliseum video. So I guess we'll just jump right into it. Mark, if you want to give everybody a timestamp following along, if you want to watch along either on Peacock or on YouTube, if you want to do a timestamp into this thing. If you're on Peacock, I have 127.08. Mark,
I'm at 127.10, but that's close enough. I mean, 08. Okay. So what we did was we watched the Hogan promo when he's gonna rumble all over you. Ha ha. Then there's a Peacock commercial. We are starting this right after Howard Finkel says it is now time for the Royal Rumble, and we all stopped it. So if you guys want to kind of sync your Peacock or even YouTube, I'm going to have a link below if you want to watch along on YouTube.
Right.
You want to start this right after Howard Finkel says it is now time for the Royal Rumble.
Which I have time-stamped as 1 hour, 27 minutes, and 8 seconds. Literally right after he said those words, Mark. So it's 127.08 if you're watching on Peacock. Obviously, if you're watching on YouTube, you can fast forward to that part. It's 8 seconds in. Zach is on YouTube. So I guess we'll just get this started. Zach, Mark, if you guys want to count down together, I'll hit play. We all hit play at the same time. If you're listening there at home, if you have your device ready on your Peacock or on YouTube, get ready to hit play. So, fellas, if you want to count it down, let's get this 30th anniversary of the 92 Rumble going. Go for it.
3, 5, 4, 3, 2, and
1.
play.
Man, I miss these Howard Finkel introductions, guys. He got you hyped.
He did.
Yep.
Bobby Heenan
sweating already.
Yep. Oh, God. All right, I'm going to track this. So everybody hit your mute button. Can you guys hear it okay?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. I got a full volume on my end. I don't think you guys can hear anything, so I believe we're good. Copyright WWE.
Yes, right.
Yeah. Right there.
That's what made it big right there with that announcement.
Yeah. Everybody, let's give it up for Jack Tunney.
All right, we're going to lay out of this. I'm going to lay out of this.
Championship from Hulk Hogan.
You know,
listen, Jack Tunney's a Hall of Famer, okay? Let's give the man some respect.
I'm sure he's your hero.
So if everybody's wondering, watching this for the first time, if you're following on our TWN page and you know we're a bunch of old heads, the reason why Jack Tunney is holding WWF Championship is because the title was removed after the debacle at this Tuesday in Texas. They had removed the WWF Championship from Hulk Hogan, and the Honorable Jack Tunney decided, well, the only fair way to do this is to put it up in the Royal Rumble. Well, it certainly made for a very historic Royal Rumble in that regard.
Undertaker's just mad because Hulk Hogan threw dead fans remains at him.
What's that, Mark?
Was it fair to Flair, number one? Number two, if you're Hulk Hogan and The Undertaker, and you're two men who had a legitimate claim to the World Championship, why involve 28 other people? I'm just asking.
I would agree. So at this point, we're at 129.07.08. Jack Tunney is hanging out in the corner, and I believe Howard Finkel.
The New York crowd has already let them know what they think of Jack Tunney.
They're way up in Albany, up near Troy, Albany, Schenectady area, as we see our first competitor coming to the ring, the British Bulldog.
Now he's fresh off the win of that Battle Royal, Royal Albert Hall, right?
Yeah.
So he's a favorite in this.
It was a 20-man battle royal at the Royal Albert Hall in London, and he won it. And well, hey, he wins that Rumble. He wins that battle royal, but he draws number 1. No,
Yeah.
guess you can't win them all. This is just a really good way to
that
start
dude was
this off.
jacked.
Oh yeah.
That guy was so big.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up. Who's number 2? Heenan. Ric Flair.
Wait a minute. Let's hear his reaction. Come on. Oh, he's like, oh, thank God. He's like, woo, is she a knockout? Talking about Sherry.
What a pair.
Yeah. This is just so great to start out with guys like this. I mean, throughout the year 1991, I mean, these guys, obviously Ted DiBiase, what can you say? Can't you say about him that hasn't been said already? I mean, honestly, he's a Hall of Famer and one of the greatest to ever do it in the squared circle, in my opinion.
Well, guys,
but what about the British Bulldog? He has the physique. He's obviously one of the vitamin takers in the World Wrestling Federation.
Vitamin takers, yes.
But you don't put him in the ring, number 1, if he can't go.
Right.
Davey Boy Smith could definitely go in the ring.
Yeah.
Clearly, he was the technician of the two, I got to believe. Dynamite was more, obviously Chris Benoit, the late Chris Benoit, patterned his wrestling style after Dynamite Kid, but Davey Boy was always the power guy of the team. In 1991, he came back to the WWF at this point, and he was on the bigger and better things in 1992. As we know, in August, I guess we'll do the 30th anniversary of SummerSlam from London, when he wins the Intercontinental Championship from Bret the Hitman Hart in front of 80,000 of his own countrymen. So that was huge for Davey Boy.
That's first pay-per-view where the world champion didn't go on last, right?
That's very true.
Intercontinental Championship was the main event.
And ironically, it was something that happened at that show which made Davey Boy Smith not return to the World Wrestling Federation.
Right.
And that was Lennox Lewis accompanied Davey Boy Smith to the ring. And Davey Boy Smith was asked to return the favor for a Lennox Lewis boxing fight, and Vince McMahon did not allow it.
No.
And that was some backstage.
DiBiase is gone.
And up and over goes DiBiase.
I'm like a second
2
behind.
years before this, guys.
Well,
he bought 3 years before this. He bought number 30.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, number 3 is about to make his way out. I'm going to lay out of this. And DiBiase, of course, is protesting all this. So hopefully everybody's along the same time stamp I am. So we're counting down 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Damn it.
Here's my favorite line.
My brain.
You can kiss it goodbye.
There it is.
Oh, man.
One point that he sort of grills Bobby with is that nobody who has ever drawn numbers 1 through 5 has been there at the end. Keep that in mind as we watch this. It really grills Brain's gears, but it's true.
Well, and back then they weren't as predictable as they would eventually become. You knew who was going to win the thing. So I was telling Mark at this point, I was a straight WWF fan. I didn't know anything about the NWA or WCW. So not until after Mania, I started watching WCW. Heenan already. Oh, shut up.
Yep. Ric Flair at this point, he had just, obviously he'd been in the WWF, I believe, since right before Survivor Series. He got his in-ring debut at Survivor Series 1991, but this is really the first big marquee event for him in the WWF run that he had from here to 1993.
How strong is the British Bulldog pressing Ric Flair over his head and repping him? Ric Flair's probably 240, 245.
At this point, yeah. Oh. Well, I mean, if you think about it, the wars that the British Bulldog had with the Warlord, I mean, Warlord was about 350 at that point.
Yeah.
This is just this whole thing, and the fact that he was in there for an hour. And Mark, you brought it up earlier about, and we always knew this. He was always dubbed himself as the 60-minute man. Well, I'll tell you what, he could do it in a battle royal too. Apparently.
Well, there was always a time record being broke every year.
I could be wrong. I don't remember Ric Flair and Davey Boy having a one-on-one match, and They have such great
No.
chemistry throughout this Royal Rumble. Keep your eye on these two as we
Right.
watch along, because they end up squaring off against each other quite a few times during their time together.
And now we got Jerry Saggs of the Nasty Boys coming out now, along with the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart.
See, the first pay-per-view one, 89, I always thought was pretty neat because you had Demolition opened it, so you got two partners going at it, and then Hulk and Randy started to have their falling out in the end. So tag teams
right.
are kind of starting to split apart. You didn't
Mhm.
really see that much after then. Yeah, heels working them over.
Sure. But, you know, they always said, and they said it in promos leading up to the event. They said it right before it. It is every man for himself.
Yep.
Even Howard Finkel said the same thing.
Bobby Heenan, I stand a chance of making a fortune here. Or losing,
We're losing one.
Brain.
Uh-huh. So
you can just tell these two didn't have to rehearse.
so
But
I'm at
grilling Bobby.
135.38. What number timestamp, Mark and Zach, are you at?
I think it's close
8:45
enough. I
on
mean,
YouTube.
we're all kind of watching this. We're all within a second or two. I think
Yeah.
Okay.
as long as we don't really mention the time too much, we're all within a second. And up and over goes Sags. He didn't touch yet.
Nope.
Goodbye.
Both feet did not touch the floor. Uh-oh.
We're
And
back to
now that
one-on-one.
Back to one-on-one. You and me, Flair.
Yep. This is not fair to Flair. Gorilla
always love the
Monsoon. It
begging
certainly is.
I always loved the begging off that Flair did, even in his NWA, WCW days where he would beg off. And then he'd lure the guy in and then chop him like a piece of raw meat right there. Yep. We got competitor number 5 coming out now, I believe.
Yeah. The crowd was always fired up for these two.
Mm-hmm.
Haku. Oh.
Yep. Former member of the Heenan family.
Dangerous man right there, guys. Part of that Samoan heritage.
In and out of the ring.
Oh, yeah. Goes right after Davey Boy.
Where do you hear Brain go against him when he starts going after Flair?
What are you doing?
I can't, I'm really watching this, and I watched it a couple days ago just to kind of reacclimate myself. It's like after you've seen a movie so many times and, you miss certain points. The effort that Flair put into this, and I know it's all based around him, but the effort that he put into this, and there you go, Brain. What are you doing?
Get to stomp in, Davey Boy, before you accept Flair.
But I mean, this entire Rumble, 93 was 94 was 95 But I mentioned earlier at the top of the show that, this was really a tough act to follow because of the people involved in this, the entire show, but this Royal Rumble specifically.
I don't think it was really not until about 98 it started getting exciting again.
Yeah.
98, 99. And, I know you just watched the 20th anniversary of 2002, right? That one was
I just
good.
watched that last night. Yep. Triple H won it 10 years after his mentor. Ironically enough.
That one was good because him and Austin kept saving each other.
Yes.
They wanted to be in at each other at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because you guys mentioned the Undertaker, which this is his first Royal Rumble, by the way.
The second. He's in the 91 Rumble.
Is he really?
Brother Love.
That's right.
Manager. Yep.
Blubber Love brings him to the ring. You're
Hawking
right.
Animal threw him out.
Roddy Piper called him Blubber Love.
Blubber Love.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here we go. Number 6 coming to the ring.
I didn't know you had some scotch in you.
Well, I wouldn't exactly call it scotch, but yeah.
Oh, here we go, guys. A noodly healed Shawn Michaels.
That's exactly right.
Marty Jannetty
that was
couldn't
1
make
week
it.
before.
Yep.
One
Marty
week
Jannetty
before the
couldn't make
barbershop
it.
window.
Marty
That's right.
Jannetty couldn't make it, man, because he tried to jump through the window to get away from him.
Exactly right. Exactly right. He tried to jump through the window for the barbershop window to get away from Michaels.
Now,
and he got messed
look
up.
Look what we got here. Michaels and Flair going at it. Hard to believe. 16 years later, this would be the man that retired, Ric Flair.
WrestleMania 24, 2008. Yep. All Hall of Famers in this ring right now. Ric Flair himself would say that Shawn Michaels is the best in-ring competitor he's ever seen.
Austin, I just watched one of his Broken Skulls the other day, and he said Michaels is the greatest he's ever been in the ring with.
Yep.
Um,
But before Michaels, there was the
just
man with the
like-
black trunks.
3 years later, man, Davey Boy and Michaels were the final two in the 95 Rumble.
That's exactly
They were
right.
the first two and the final two.
Yeah, but that 95 Rumble, they didn't do every 2
It
minutes.
was
I think
so
they did it every,
fast.
what?
That was the
every
first
90
time they
minute,
went to
minute and a
90
half.
seconds. They went to
Yeah.
90 seconds. Yep. Flair trying to get rid of his future apprentice.
Flair knew he was no good beforehand.
Yeah.
He sees a lot of himself in him.
Yeah.
Of course, later this year, after Davey Boy beat Bret Hart for the IC title, it was Shawn Michaels who beat Davey Boy
On
on the
Saturday
Saturday
night's main
Night's
event.
on
That's
Fox.
Mm-hmm.
Time to go for a ride.
That was the first time it was off NBC and went to Fox.
Yeah, they did 2 of them that year, and
Mhm.
they were mediocre at best.
Yeah.
There's just something about being on NBC made them special.
So here we go. Our next competitor about to come out. I think this is probably one of the first Rumbles where the ring really fills up. Like it's not
See-
1-on-1 or 2-on-2 for so long. It really fills up.
Here's one of my favorites right here, man.
Tito.
Santana, the newly formed El Matador.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of El Matador. I was a fan
No.
of Tito, but
Yes.
not El Matador.
Yeah.
I wasn't a fan of Olay. I was a fan of Hariba.
He held every belt too, except for the world title. I think he would have made a decent WWF champion.
He was
Consummate good. Was he like Steamboat, never a heel? Was he babyface his whole
Tito,
career?
as far as I know, as far back as I can, as I've studied him, even when believe it or not, his name was Richard Blood before he became Tito Santana. And that was Ricky Steamboat's name. And we're talking
Yeah.
back in the Mid-Atlantic days when he was just breaking in. He was never a heel that I'm aware of. Certainly not in the WWF. Tito, for me, when I first started watching wrestling back in '85, he was the Intercontinental Champion.
Mm-hmm.
And him and Greg Valentine were like this, like Magnum and Tully were in the
Yeah.
NWA. Him and Valentine were at each other's throats. They had taped fist matches. They had Intercontinental title matches at the Spectrum at Madison Square Garden as Davey Boy's trying to get rid of the future Heartbreak Kid.
Valentine said he liked wrestling Tito. Tito wasn't afraid to get hit by him.
No, they potatoed each
when
other. And that's
hammer
why
on him.
Valentine likes it. I think Gorilla said many times, the more you are, maybe Brain that said, the more you pound on Valentine, the more he likes
He
it.
likes it.
And that was the truth. That was a shoot.
And Jesse Ventura said in WrestleMania 4, the 15-minute time limit in the preliminaries, it takes the Hammer 30 minutes just to get warmed up.
Yep.
The longer it goes, the meaner he gets and the more it's in his favor.
So let's look at the Hall of Fame lights here. I believe Davey Boy was inducted into the Hall of Fame. I don't remember what year. I know Tito was 2004 because I remember him and Valentine were inducted at the same time with Sergeant Slaughter and Jesse Ventura, Bobby
Flair
Heenan.
was 08.
Yep, Flair was 08.
I can't remember when Shawn Michaels went in.
I think it was 2013 or 2014. But
Barbarian. They just keep getting bigger.
Yep. Barb, I'll tell you what. Much like the Rock and Roll Express nowadays, Barb is still making appearances in ring. I mean,
Yeah.
this dude, you talk about tough as shoe leather.
Yeah.
And between him and Haku, yeah, Barb's one of them.
I don't think the Faces of Fear was just a gimmick. I think that was a true to life shoot as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no question about it. Barb at this point, it was a barbarian that actually looked like a barbarian, like Conan, versus the Road Warrior. But you know what? Coming from Jim Crockett Promotions and watching that, I love the Powers of Pain when they had the black tights and everything.
Didn't
Flair.
when they split up in '90? Wasn't that they were traded?
Barbarian
Went to Heenan and Slick took
Warlord,
right?
Barb.
Yes.
Slick took Warlord. Yep.
And then
And-
you had the Warlord bald head, whatever that was, the
That
hat
mask. And they actually made a figure out of it with that
Uh-huh.
Phantom of the Opera silver mask on the side of his face.
Oh my God!
Ring's starting to fill up here. I don't think Barb has been inducted yet, but he well should be. I mean, the guy put in the time. I mean, him and the Warlord, say what you want, but they were a hell of a tag team. They gave the Warriors a really great run in the NWA in '88.
I think they still make
Demolition a good
appearances
run.
together.
Mm.
I think
Yeah,
they still make him dead. Warlord's still a big dude, man.
Yeah. Yep. Michaels, look at Michaels. The pesky
These
guy
guys
he is.
look like professional wrestlers back then.
Yeah. Nothing against today's professional wrestlers, but you know, when you got guys that look like Barb and you got guys that look like Davey Boy Smith,
Yeah.
The technicians are the guys that look like Flair, Tito, and Michaels. Those are the technicians. But you had, muscular dudes that look like that's a pro wrestler.
And Hall and Ash even said, Sean's 220 or so here, 230, but they said he's a big 220, big 230.
Yep. No, he wasn't short by any means. I think Mark, you could probably find this, but I believe he was about 6'2". Oh, there he is. There's my buddy. The
Kerry
Tornado.
Von Erich.
Yep.
Former NWA heavyweight champion.
Mm-hmm.
And when I watched this back earlier this week, the one thought going through my head was that tragically he would take his own life a year later.
Yeah. Literally a year to this, a year almost. It was January of '93, if I'm not mistaken.
So you look at this right here. Obviously, they're not going to make any mention of it, but this is an old war reignited right here between these two.
That's the David Von Erich Memorial Parade of Champions in May 4th, 1984.
84. Kerry won the championship that night, right?
Correct.
Now, was that on record, or was that one of the Phantom changes?
No, that actually did happen.
So it was on record.
Yes.
With this being on the YouTube channel, those of you who watch my wrestling show on Got Mark 76,
shameless
I
plug.
am a big Kerry Von Erich fan. So
yes, you are.
You should be able to tell by the.
But not bigger a fan than Paul Orndorff. Let's say that for the record.
Let's face it, folks. Last year for Fantasy Warfare was Orndorff Mania.
We all got our favorites.
Wild.
But Kerry's definitely in my top. I'd say my top 15 easily.
You know what, though, Mark? I'm glad we did all the Orndorff stuff last year, though, since he tragically passed away.
Yeah.
That made it now when you go back and watch all those.
I was about to say the exact same thing. It made it all the more special, Mark, when you did that, man. Oh. So we're filling up here. What do we got? 6 guys in the ring? 1, 2, 3, 4.
And again, all but the Barbarian in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
And you can make a case for Barbarian being in the Hall of Fame.
Well, one of you guys said that I think the Powers of Pain should be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
I mean, you put Carlos Colon in there, who never wrestled once in a WWE ring, WWF ring. Abdul the Butcher. Why not the Powers of Pain?
Drew Carey's in there.
Yeah, that's just
another Hall of Famer.
There he is. The former Demolition Smash, Barry Darsow himself, the Repo Man.
No, man, it's the Russian sympathizer.
Crusher Khrushchev, that's right. See, you're going into my wheelhouse now. Yeah. It's funny that
it's the golf pro. You're both wrong.
The funny thing is, he actually is of Russian descent. He really is of Russian descent.
You guys remember the story when he told him and Arn Anderson with TV?
What was that?
You guys remember the story when Barry and Arn Anderson were at TV and Hawk and Animal were debuting and their names were on the list to face them and he said, Arn, I know I just met you and all, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not getting in the ring with those two.
He knew all about him before he ever got there. He grew up with him. So now we got 6, 7 guys in the ring. Tornado teeing off on the future Heartbreak Kid. Just unbelievable talent in this ring right here.
Mr.
Even
Perfect
Barry
gave
Darsow.
that name, right?
Mr. Perfect gave Texas Tornado the name to Kerry Von Erich.
No, to Shawn Michaels, Heartbreak Kid.
Oh, the Heartbreak. I believe you're right. I believe you're right.
These guys just hit so much harder back then.
Yeah.
I mean, they know how to make contact and not to hurt each other, but man, you just right there. Nobody chops better than Ric Flair.
No. And to your point, they laid it in most times. I mean, they're tough enough to take a beating. Like we talked about Tito and Valentine.
It's not ballet.
No. Not by a long shot. It is it is a violent choreographed show, but when they lay them potatoes in, they're laying them in. There ain't no pulling punches.
Even back then, man, you tell one of them guys that go in and insult them and tell them what they do is fake, they're going to hit you for real.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of the hammer.
Here he comes. Dude, when I had back in the day, I had those LJN figures. I had Valentine and Tito. I wore those 2 figures out.
I had the Hasbro figures.
I'll tell you what, man. Tito and Valentine, I wore those 2. I had the Bulldogs. I had the Sheik and Volkov. I had the Valentine and Beefcake, but nothing to me beat Tito versus Valentine. I wore those 2 figures out.
We got Flair and Valentine going at it right here, man.
I made either one of them the Ultimate Warrior or Ric Flair. I forget.
Yeah, right. But yeah, Zach, good point. These guys, Valentine and Flair, were former NWA World Tag Team Champions back in the late 70s, 77, I believe it was.
Didn't they feud over the U.S. title?
Oh yeah, in
Oh, yeah.
1980. Oh,
Yeah.
Blood War. Check this
I
out.
believe-
Try this one
well-
out for size. If you were able to see this ringside, how about Ole and Gene Anderson, the original Minnesota Wrecking Crew,
Mhm.
against Flair and Valentine? That happened. So I've been told by my good friend Mike Mooneyham, who is another wrestling historian I'm sure you guys have heard of. But you talk about a great tag team. I mean, Valentine was the hammer then, but he was the heavy of that team. He'd come in and literally just beat the living hell out of you, where Flair was more the technician of the
Mhm.
two, if you can believe that.
Mark, where you at, man? We lost your picture.
Oh,
You taking a powder?
oh, no, I'm here. Streaming, they're not going to see us watching this. So,
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. But, we like to see your face. We like to get your reactions. So they're trying to get rid of Michaels, Davey Boy, and Kerry Von Erich, the Texas Tornado, there you are. Former Intercontinental
Hey.
Heavyweight Champion. We got Repo and Flair going at it over there. Former
It's just hard to
JCP
believe
standout.
watching this 30 years ago, man. What Michaels would become. Oh.
Yep. Here we
okay.
go. There he is, Nikolai.
Famer.
Yep.
We
100%.
this is wrestler number 2, with Tito Santana being the first. That I was like, there's no way he's going to win it.
You had to have, but hey, give Nikolai his due. I mean, at this point, 92, he had been wrestling 25, 30 years.
He is
I mean,
a
the
big,
dude was-
beefy dude, man.
Yes, he is.
Oh.
He had faced the likes of Bruno Sammartino, Pedro Morales. I mean, he was there in the 70s, man.
Slaughter.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was more into the 90s, but
I think they went at it in the early 80s when Slaughter, became a good guy again.
after Slaughter
In
dispatched
70s.
of the Sheik at their boot
Yeah.
camp match the following month at Madison Square Garden, which ironically enough is on Peacock, it was Slaughter versus
Hmm.
Nikolai.
That's just crazy to think back then, man. They had 3 teams, the A, B, and C team. These guys all wanted to be on the same house as Hogan. That's where the money was.
But they all sold out, no matter
Yeah.
no matter what team you were on.
Absolutely. Yeah. They just
Look at
did
this! Look at this!
talent.
Figure 4 on the figure 4. 2 masters of the figure 4. Valentine's got it slapped on Nate.
There goes Nikolai.
And there goes
didn't last long.
Nikolai. Thank you.
Ah!
Hey, man, they all can't have the Bushwhacker Luke record.
No. In fact, that record held
That was the year
for
before.
years.
Yep.
I think the Warlord was the one that broke it. He might
Now
have
the
done it.
Warlord happened before. That was 89.
Oh, the Warlord.
And Luke, I think it was 91.
Oh, okay. So at this
Yeah.
point, the Bushwhacker Luke record is intact.
Warlord
Look at
came
these
in
two.
89, posed, went in the ring, Hogan clothesline, out.
He whacked in and
Gone.
bushwhacked himself right out. So I would have. I mean, not to take focus off of the Royal Rumble and the WWF, but I would
man.
love to have seen Flair versus Valentine in 1980.
Oh, yeah.
There's one of my favorites back in the early 90s, right here.
And it made so much more sense, too, when he turned face.
Yeah.
Because you think about it, police officer's the good guy.
Law, order, and justice.
Yeah.
Can't be
I
do
mean,
justice
because
if
you
you're a
think
heel.
about it, he beat up Jake the Snake, handcuffed him,
Yep.
took the bag, took it back to DiBiase, realized there was a payoff, took
Yep.
the bag back to Jake, unhandcuffed him, shook hands, and then he got that Hard Times theme song.
That's exactly right.
That was a great theme
One of the
song.
catchiest theme songs I can remember back in
Oh,
the
yeah.
day.
Hey, here, you want to hear a trivia question? Who's the one that sung the Boss Man theme song?
Was it Johnston? It wasn't Jim Johnston?
Nope. You'll never guess it in a million
No.
years. I'll give you a hint. He was a ring announcer.
Tony Schimmel?
Nope.
No.
Okay. At that point, he was probably like 19, 20 years old. Tony Chimmel, is that what you said?
Yeah.
The guy that did SmackDown ring announcing? No.
Yeah.
No.
In the Attitude Era?
I heard, and again, if you all who are listening to this, if you guys want to go ahead and Google it, I believe it was Mel Phillips. Remember Mel
Get
Phillips?
out of here.
Yeah.
Look
He
it
was
up.
the first live event I went to in August
Look
of
it up.
91.
He was the guy that did the
Wait a
Spectrum
second.
when Gary Capetta left.
Yeah.
Look it up. I
Put that in
believe
your
I
Google
heard it was
machine,
Mel
folks.
Phillips. All right, so here we go. We got Boss Man, Barb, Tito. Somebody just got knocked out again.
Bulldog just went out.
Bulldog is gone. The number
Yeah.
one entrant is gone.
Yep. Kerry Von Erich's gone.
Oh,
Two
man.
of the crowd favorites right there.
At this point, 92? Absolutely.
We've got Michaels, Boss Man, Barbarian, Tito, and
Nate.
Flair still in there,
Mm-hmm.
ready for another entrant.
Got a countdown coming here. Who
I mean,
could
the crowd
it
is
be?
there goes two, Michaels and El Matador.
And yep.
They'll face off at WrestleMania 8 in your hometown there, Zacharoo.
Yeah, opening match. It's Reba
Herc.
McIntyre's brother.
That's right.
Woo!
It's a Reba McIntyre. It is not. Look at
That was a
her.
nice gesture by Tito. I told you he was his sister.
Yeah, right.
This is a couple months before he would go to WCW as a super invader.
Correct. At this point, he's still power and glory. I don't think Glory is still here at this point. I think Paul Roma had exited. Or is he in this? I didn't even look at the lineup. But Herc at this point, this is probably the biggest he's ever been. Hercules.
Look at that. Barbarian tries to
Gut-wise,
help
you mean,
Ric Flair,
gut-wise.
and Ric Flair's paying for it now. You don't turn on him.
You know, I used to keep a running count of how many Gorilla Slams Flair took in this between
Oh.
Barb, Kerry Von Erich, Davey Boy Smith must have got him at least 3 times.
Listen, folks, if we could make a drinking game from that, we would die. Your liver wouldn't be able to take that.
No. Barb's got. Barb is gone.
And we're down to the Boss Man and Flair. Ric Flair thinks he's going solo. Nope.
Boss Man got in under the bottom rope. He's like, no, Flair.
Boss Man looks so good here, man, compared to the Big Bubba days.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was very agile for a big man.
You know, it's funny you mentioned big clothesline on Nate. You mentioned I was watching an edition of '87. Ooh, what a kick! With the Midnight Express and Big Bubba against 2 good friends of mine. One, David Isley, Tommy Angel, and there goes Boss Man. He threw himself over the top. He clotheslined himself on the bottom rope, and now it is Flair by himself. Boss Man did an enziguri kick, and I had never seen that done before as Flair takes the nosedive. You should go back and watch that. It's on the January 17th edition of World Championship Wrestling, '87. And Boss Man did an enziguri kick. That's Big Bubba.
That big dude can move, man.
All right,
He
let's
said that
see.
when he got in shape in 90, he could really do some stuff.
Please tell me this.
Oh,
is
here
Piper.
comes Hot Rod.
I knew it. There he comes.
This is number two for him tonight.
Look at the reaction on Flair's. Oh,
He
no.
could become a double champion here, folks.
That's right. He just won the Intercontinental title just before this Rumble took place.
And let's face it, this rivalry right here goes way back.
U.S. title matches in the
Yeah.
NWA and Jim Crockett Promotions.
Georgia.
Yep. All over. More notably for the U.S. title in like 81.
Well, and
Piper
guys-
was actually the heel and Flair was the babyface.
Well, and for our
Right.
viewers that are familiar here, maybe not familiar, in '91 when Flair made his debut in September, first guy he went after was Roddy Piper.
That's right.
Beat the crap out of him at the announce table.
Yep.
And here's something else some of our listeners or watchers may not know, but and I think it was like 2010 or 11, Ric Flair and Roddy Piper participated in White Swap, a TV show where you swap spouses for a week. And
I'm not
it was
Yeah, I
surprised.
remember
entertaining.
seeing that.
The funny thing is, those two probably did that back in the early 80s without
Uh-huh.
cameras rolling. Rumor and innuendo.
The non-PG version, yes.
Piper just
Yes.
gave Ric Flair taste of his own medicine, poked him in the eyes.
Wow, an airplane spin.
Put him
Good
to sleep.
night, Irene.
Good night, Irene. There it
Put him to
is.
sleep and just throw him out.
God.
Oh, he ain't sweating bullets right now.
Mm-hmm. It's a skirt. It's a skirt. He'll say that in a little bit when the ring starts filling up again. He said,
See,
"Hey,
you
dude.
see Flair talking to him the whole
Yeah,
time.
hey,
Back
don't
then,
forget, you got to throw me over the top."
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, trust me.
Oh,
Went from one of the most
Another Hall of
beloved
Famer.
heroes to
Mhm.
most hated. Well,
Yep.
you guys think about it. You don't put your hands on Elizabeth.
No.
Yeah.
No, this
Nuclear
Jake the Snake
heat.
Roberts, Hall of Famer. Another one, Hall of Famer. All three of these guys in the ring are Hall of Famers. Roddy Piper was also, and I believe he was in 2005, if I'm not mistaken.
Have you guys? 05 was a great class. Have you guys been watching DDP and Jake the Snake's new show?
No,
DDP
but I
Snake
should.
Pit? So good. Yeah, 2 episodes in, it is awesome.
I heard they were doing a podcast together. I just haven't got the opportunity to watch it yet.
with him. Conrad's a busy man.
Dude, Conrad is my hero, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That dude has got everybody. But Flair is out on his own. He's doing a podcast by himself with a former personality in WCW by the name of Mark Madden.
Mm-hmm.
Jake is just a very, he's the personification and the manifestation of the
Second
will and the
chances.
human spirit and second chances. Absolutely. And
he had a friend who did not give up on him. That's less that he calls him his brother.
Yep. Oh, Pipes nails him with a big right hand or clothesline or whatever.
It's a kilt. It's not a skirt. It's a kilt. It's not a skirt.
It's a kilt. There it was. I love that. Of all the trunks tights that Jake the Snake Roberts has ever had, those are my favorites right there.
Snake one. Well, you no good creep who skirt wearing
freak. Yep.
It's every announcer for himself.
Yep.
All three of these guys are hitting each other.
I mean, Heenan was going crazy. You could hear during the original broadcast, he had to hit that cough button a few times.
Yeah.
He had to get a couple drinks. I mean, he was going nuts.
Somebody get me something to drink. Get me something to drink. Here we go. Here's
you over there.
Oh, Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
They like him in New York.
Oh God, yeah. Glens Falls, New York. That can't be
Glens
too
Falls.
far from Albany.
See, I never
Bobby
understood
Heenan.
it. I never understood. There's no disqualification. Take the board in the ring with you. Lay him out.
You know, you don't want to make it look like a bunkhouse stampede.
Yeah, that's
you know.
true.
Bobby Heenan, to your point, you guys mentioned Bobby Heenan and how he was so emotionally involved in this because he knew how great Flair was. And that whole thing about viewer distorting the belt and bringing the belt in. I think this was, as much as anything else, a way to show everybody just what kind of stud that the WWF fans didn't know that even Flair was. I mean, you had your loyal WWF fans who didn't watch WCW, didn't watch Jim Crockett Promotions from like 85 to 91 when he left.
Well,
so this was a way to certainly introduce him and really say, okay, this is why he's the 60-minute man.
Well, when you think about it, the Enemy came in. He brought the NWA Heavyweight Championship with him.
Yep.
I mean, that's unheard of. Took another competitor's championship belt onto another competitor's show.
Ice cream and horse manure.
Big Gold, baby, made its WWF debut in
August
August of '91.
Yep.
You guys remember at SummerSlam when Heenan went to Hogan's dressing room and he was
shut the door in his face.
You wouldn't do that if Ric Flair was standing here.
That was great. And that was literally weeks, like weeks after Flair left left WCW. Flair and Piper going at it.
Then Duggan just
and there's
drilled Flair.
Jake the Snake Roberts and Piper going at it. What a know fantasy warfare match that was last year.
Hard to believe Piper and Duggan.
You be getting some ideas for your script coming here, brother Marcus.
Yeah.
Oh, here we got it. Erwin R. Shyster, Bray Wyatt's daddy, Mike Rotunda, aka at this point Erwin R. Shyster, otherwise known as IRS.
Michael Wall Street, VK Wall Street. Oh,
He's had more names than Barry Darso, and that's calling it quick. You know, when I first started watching,
man.
Oh, dude, him and Barry Windham were the tag team back in 1985, brother.
Oh yeah.
Him and Barry Windham were the world tag team champions, and their rivals at the time were Sheik and Volkov. I mean, when I first remember those old WWF trading cards back in the day? So I'm talking about the ones that like had the red border, like so
Tops
when I first So when I got that Windham and Rotunda card, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. I have the card I wanted. That's the one I wanted. That was the one that always eluded me, and then I got it.
This thing too, the career those two guys had as singles wrestlers. I mean, Rotunda got to be a captain.
Yes, he did. First of a wrestling squad, and then of a ship, apparently.
Yep.
under the watchful eye of Jim
He was a
Hurt.
great.
God
He was a
rest
great.
his
He was
soul.
a great television
Not
champion.
under the
though.
watchful eye of Harley Race, please.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
he was a great television champion. So
He
Gorilla
helped-
just made a good point, guys.
What's that?
Jake's in there right now, and Gorilla just made a good point saying, Savage has got to be coming in anytime. Because
Mhm.
let's face it, him and Jake the Snake are in the middle of a war right now.
Absolutely. That started right before the Survivor Series, just a few months earlier
SummerSlam.
with the Cobra Bite. Cobra Bite, I think it was on Superstars
Yeah.
when Jake brought the Cobra out. That's when he smacked down Elizabeth. You mentioned that earlier.
Well,
Could you
SummerSlam
imagine
started at the
pulling that
wedding
off in
reception.
2022, Bill? A
No.
Cobra
No.
biting you legitimately?
I would say that half the stuff you saw in 1991 doesn't age well.
Yeah.
It doesn't age well into the modern day. Here we go. Could it be?
Superfly.
Now there are some interesting. I want everybody watching to pay attention that there's a few awkward moments here where I think Piper wants to go after Snuka. They of course have that storied history with
Yes.
Piper breaking the coconut over Snuka's head.
Oh
but
yeah.
Piper doesn't go after him. So pay attention to that as you watch.
There's
this.
a spot later on when after Hogan comes out, he does.
But
the
yet
same
Snuka
thing.
just
He
nailed
kinda
Piper. And
stalks Hogan.
you talk about a rivalry. I know I'm an old head, but Flair and Jimmy Snuka, you talk about some blood wars over the U.S. title. My
Whenever you
God,
posted it
the
on the
pictures
page.
I've seen, yes.
Yeah.
The wars that these two had in the Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling area over the U.S. title, my God, it totally preceded anything that that Snuka and Piper did in WWF.
And back then, it was kind of taboo. You didn't mention what the other companies were doing or what these guys had did.
Never.
Now today, it's perfectly normal for other companies to acknowledge other companies.
Sure. It's funny. I was watching an MSG show from '84. It was right after the coconut incident on Piper's Pit, and Piper clotheslined Snuka over the top rope, and I think his head hit the floor. He was legit knocked out. It's one of the shows from '84. They had him in the back. His eyes were like rolling. I'm talking about Snuka. Were rolling in his head. I had never seen that before in my life. Piper got color and everything, but Snuka was legit knocked out. They had it in the back. They had oxygen on him. It was really the first time in that particular era that I've ever seen anything that real happen in the back like that.
Yeah.
You've seen interviews in the back. You've seen guys walk into the ring. But as far as I knew up until that point, they had never had that kind of coverage backstage, and it looked really, really serious.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be? Could it be?
Could it be?
No.
Oh, yes.
Paul
Bear.
When did Paul Bear actually take over for Blubber Love for Mr. Bruce Pritchard?
Right
When did he take
WrestleMania
over?
7.
Is that what it was?
Because
Okay.
Bruce wanted to get off the road and start doing more of the backstage creative.
Right.
Because I don't think he's in the company right now in '92. If I remember, I watched one of his shows recently. He said he wasn't in there at this time.
There was a couple hiatuses he took, and I think at this point he was not there. Piper and Rotunda going at it.
Yeah, you guys got to remember, this is Pat Patterson's brainchild right here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yep. The
And
former
Snooker's
Mean
gone.
Martel.
But he picked right up where he left off at Mania 7.
That's exactly right. Look at that.
I just watched these two go at the build up for the WrestleMania 18 match, Flair and Taker. Man, that's hard to believe 10 years later.
10 years,
not only
exactly.
that,
And that's when they started acknowledging Undertaker's undefeated streak at WrestleMania.
Yep. What's that, Mark?
The pop of that match was Arn Anderson's spine buster out of nowhere.
Absolutely.
Best spine buster in the biz.
Well, they're called spine buster. Everybody else is spine on the pine. Nobody does a spine buster except Arn Anderson.
Arn Anderson hits you with it, you don't get up.
No.
If you do, he's going to DDT you and make sure you stay down.
I love that. In fact, I know nobody can see this, but maybe I can find it. Just bear with me. I'll be right back.
Dude, I love watching the baby faces cheat. Oh, what you got there, Bill? Taker 90. Nice.
From WrestleMania 7.
Yeah, the 90-91.
Wearing the same garb that he's wearing in the Royal Rumble right there.
Yep.
It's the WrestleMania Heritage Series, includes the hat and the trench coat. WWE Elite.
The old school gray. The Mortel. Here comes Savage.
And here he comes,
That's
the
what we've been
Macho
waiting
Man.
on.
And watch Jake
All
hide
right.
under the ring.
Jake's hiding over in the ring, and Macho Man
Now-
comes in looking for him. Where is
Now
he?
it's on like Donkey Kong. Savage
Where
is there.
he?
He's still got the arm wrap from the snake bite.
Where's the Snake Man? Yeah.
Yep. Well, Taker's got him now. He's still got the arm wrap from where the snake bit him on his left
And
arm.
seeing at this time, Jake and Undertaker kind of had a little bit of a dark alliance formed.
And this was thinking on the fly. We're spoiler alert, we're a few minutes away from Savage attacking Roberts, and then Savage throwing himself over the top rope. And Heenan and Gorilla were not sure if that was going to eliminate Savage. So
Yeah, because
pay
you actually
attention
have to
that
be
commentary.
propelled over the because
Yes.
you actually have to be propelled over the top rope.
You can
That's how they
imagine that
saved
Vince
it,
was
yeah.
probably in their ear saying, "No, Savage is still in this." With all the stories we hear today.
Right.
Yeah, Gorilla saves it. The rules state you have to be thrown out by somebody. So why was Hogan allowed to pull Sid out?
There it is. He just hopped over the top. Again,
Yep.
nobody threw him out.
Taker comes out after him.
Yeah, so Bobby Heenan's selling it like it was a mistake of a lifetime, but as Zach said, they had to think on the fly here.
McMahon's in the back. Audible.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We need Savage for a spot later. Get him back in there.
Gorilla, say something that saves face here. Okay. Think of something.
Macho Man still guy has his left arm bandaged up from that snake bite.
I already said that.
Did you think they had that check before he came in? I think they should cut the damn thing off. That was months ago, Bill. Months ago.
This war will never end. Look at that. There you go. Taker out there as well. Think about it. This guy just left the ring, last year?
Yeah. He knew how to go with the times and reinvent himself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Taker 01, or when he come back in 2000, that's my favorite version of the American Badass.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was himself.
Exactly. He was Mark Calloway at that point.
But remember what he told The Rock when he come out there and he said, just because I'm not wearing black anymore does not mean I'm not down with the devil still.
That's exactly right.
Oh.
Yep.
He called him boy, not Roy.
Exactly. So we got IRS, Piper, Hacksaw, Taker, Savage, and our boy Flair here, who is holding his own.
Rotunda's not in the Hall of Fame, is he?
Not yet. He
I thought
should
he
be.
was.
Taker, he's going in probably within the next year or so. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not the headline this year.
DiBiase is, but Rotunda is not. Mm-mm. Taker trying to do away with Hacksaw here. Savage, well, there's your co-main event for Mania right there.
They should have went on last. That match between them was
agree.
so good.
I would agree.
I mean, you're going for the belt. You go on last.
And let's face it, the only reason why Hogan and Justice went on last at WrestleMania 8 was because we all knew from the interview that he had with Vince that was going to be his swan song, at least for the next year.
And we got the return of the Warrior that night.
Exactly. So here we got the Berserker.
This is John Nord, right?
4 that had no shot at winning the match.
Right. The guy by the name of John Nord, another guy from Robbinsdale High School, along with the likes of Ravishing Rick Rude, the Road Warriors, Barry Darsow, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig. At this point, he was managed by Mr. Fuji. I forgot about that.
Oh, my Berserker, he tear you apart.
At this point, John Nord, he would come to the ring doing the Huss thing. You know where he got that from, don't you?
Brody, right?
Bruiser Brody, correct.
Yep.
Look at Flair and Savage.
There's a dark match on I think it's Randy Savage unreleased matches. It's Hogan and Macho Man reunited for one night as the Mega Powers against Barbarian and Jake the Snake.
Oh, really? Okay.
One of the rare times you get to see Hogan and Jake the Snake go at it.
I thought it was that would have been a really cool match to watch. The other one I got a real treat watching was him and Piper against I think it was Undertaker and Flair, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Madison Square Garden, right before WrestleMania. I know there was Hogan and Piper took on Flair and Justice.
Right.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Mm-hmm.
I love finding those obscure ones you never really hear about. Or
there's a lot of those 91 MSG matches on the old school section on the Peacock. Look at this. Piper and Taker teaming up on Flair.
And then Undertaker looks over at him like, "What are you doing?"
And there it is. There's your swerve. There's your swerve. He's got the choke on pipes now.
Isn't it crazy?
I wonder
seeing
if that was a
Undertaker had
rib.
only one tattoo.
Oh, had to be. Had to be. You know,
But Pepper's
along
like, I
with
wanna-
it, along with ad-libbing in here, they had to do some kind of spots where they're pulling ribs on one another. I mean, let's face it.
Mhm.
All right, here we go. Another countdown.
Virgil, yay!
There's your
Here
winner.
was my
right there.
odds-on favorite to win the match, but unfortunately, he
He
doesn't
gave-
fare too well.
According to him, he gave Jim Cornette the tennis racket.
Is that right?
That's what he's been saying.
When did he switch to the ice cream man tights? I mean, it looks like a friggin' he looks like a candy cane. What the hell? What is
Bobby
it? With
Heenan, Bobby Heenan says the best either in this match or another one. He looks like a barber pole.
Yeah. Yeah, hard to disagree with that. A very striking resemblance, I would say.
was looking up some stuff the other day because I got to see a sit down with him and Ted DiBiase from 2019,
Mhm.
and I didn't know he was known in Tennessee as Soul Man Jones.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Jones is his last name.
yeah,
Legit.
yeah. Mike Jones.
Mike Jones. Hoop.
Who?
Look at that.
Mike Jones.
Flair. Yep. To the eyes,
And,
Flair on the Undertaker.
Watched an Arsenio Hall from 19, I think it was 89. Yeah, it was right before the main event too. And DiBiase and Virgil were guests on Arsenio. It was great.
Hey, listen, only 3 men held that $1 million championship.
I knew who they
DiBiase,
were.
Virgil, and Steve Austin. So
Steve Austin. That's right.
And Ted DiBiase Jr.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
digress.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Ted
Remember,
DiBiase was in an
Ted
04?
DiBiase Jr. came in with it for a little.
Yeah, he gave him-
forced in.
DiBiase gave it to him.
I didn't realize Junior came in and so I thought he was more like along like the lines of like 08 or 09 when he teamed up with
Well, yeah.
Cody Rhodes
Yeah, it
and what's his nuts? Orton.
Randy
Yeah.
Orton.
What's his nuts?
Yeah, it was
And
right
then
before
DiBiase
that.
Senior gave him the championship. So
Gotcha.
Zach's right. But Virgil's the
DiBiase
laughing
said that
stock of
belt
many
was made
jokes.
for $35 grand in 1989. It's worth over $400,000 now.
I can believe it.
Yeah, I wonder if they
Especially
still
with the
have that in the
current markup
museum.
on gold. Oh, here we go.
Sheiky baby.
There he is, along with General Adnoid, the former Sheik Adnan
Throw
LKC,
somebody-
leading the Iron Sheik to the ring.
Throw somebody in the camel clutch, make them humble.
Yes,
So-
I break your back and make you humble.
I know you guys love our one of our favorites, Jim Cornette.
Mhm.
But Cornette likes
love
to
Mr.
go on
Corny.
long rants about the Iron Sheik signing an NWA contract in 1989
And getting paid for nothing.
and getting paid for
Yes.
nothing. So the story is that
Oh,
Jim
come on. He
Hurt
took on
signed
Sting
the
at
Iron-
Wrestle War 89. Come on. He had a good match with Sting. All right, he was only 5 minutes, but whatever. Go ahead.
so the Iron Sheik signs this contract. They don't use them, and Jim Herd doesn't know it. And because of some clause in the contract,
Automatic renewal.
automatic renewal, which brings us 2 years of the Iron Sheik not being used at all.
Man,
And then when that contract's over, he's in WBF as Colonel Mustafa. So here's
Man.
the
And he's
guy
still under
that wants-
contract with WCW at that point? In 91?
The contract ended in
look at that
91,
crowd.
Oh.
Look at
and then
that
got a
crowd,
new
guys.
contract with Vince.
Knickerbocker
So
Arena.
here's a guy that got paid millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars for doing nothing.
Wow. And he had that huge match against Mike Rotunda, Captain Mike Rotunda at the Great American Bash 1990. Who could forget about that?
Yeah, that huge match. Just like Harley Race and Tommy Rich. It's about
Now-
10 years too late.
So somebody hit the Google machine right fast. The Knickerbocker Arena, is that what became the Pepsi Arena, or was that in a completely different arena? The Knickerbocker Arena, was that raised and then the Pepsi Arena was put in its place? Or was it sort of like the Spectrum was raised? We know about this, Mark, being from the Philly area, but was it one of those deals where they tore the Knickerbocker Arena down and built the Pepsi Arena, or was the Knickerbocker Arena just renamed?
So I did the quick Google machine.
Okay.
It is now called the MVP Arena.
Okay. Formerly
It
known
was
as.
originally. So I don't know if they knocked it down. Knickerbocker Arena was from 1990 through 1997.
Wow.
And they have since named it the Times Union Center and now the MVP Arena.
Now, what
I
about
wanna
the
chime
Pepsi
in.
Arena? Was that anywhere in the timeline there? Pepsi
Now
Arena
you're
or
gonna
no?
make me click a link. Hold
Guys,
on.
I want to chime in here for our viewers real quick. Entrant number 25 just come out. Rick Martel. He
Oh,
holds
the model.
current record, 52 minutes and 33 seconds. From
We know the guy, he's-
1991 Rumble.
We know the guy he's punching on right now is going to blow that out of the water.
Rick Martel's a former heavyweight champion in the AWA.
Correct.
Former tag
Bill,
team
you are
champion
correct.
in
It was the
WWF.
Knickerbocker Arena from 1990 through 1997. It was the Pepsi Arena from 1997 through 2006.
Right.
And it is now currently known as the Times Union Center.
So it is the exact same arena. So that building that this Rumble was in 30 years ago still remains. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry, I'm a
rare
geek for
these
history.
days.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of
It's kind of like the
history.
Greensboro Coliseum of the North.
Yeah.
I was watching the 2002 Royal Rumble. We all know that took place at the Phillips Arena, right? In Atlanta.
Atlanta GA.
Yeah.
I found out that in that exact spot, I don't know what they call it now in Atlanta where the Hawks play, but back in 2002 it was the Phillips Arena. I just got done watching the Royal Rumble with the Triple H one we just talked about. And in that very spot, they actually raised the Omni. They remember the old Omni where the War Games was in '87?
Yeah.
Completely raised, torn that. The whole spot was left desolate. So they put the Pepsi or the Phillips Arena right in that spot.
Oh, nice.
You guys we're missing the main event in any building in the arena across the world with Virgil and IRS going at it.
Yeah, but here comes my man, number 26, the guy who should have won.
Oh, here we go. Come on, Pop.
And the crowd is on their feet. Here comes the Hulkster.
Here's
There
the
he
guy
comes.
who rightfully lost this match.
Here we go. You two are going to
And
go
the
back and
crowd
forth,
in
aren't you?
Albany agrees with me because
No,
they
because I'm
booed
going
him
to
out of
agree
the
with him on
building.
this because you go back and you watch it and it's like, man, he didn't have to do that. He was a sore loser. And at this point, Hulkamania, there's still a little bit of juice there, but it's starting to run out.
Now, here you got two guys who faced off at this Tuesday in Texas that caused all this mess
Yeah.
with Taker and Hogan. Ooh, a karate shot right to the throat.
Hulk Hogan did throw Dead Man Remains at Undertaker.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Right in the face.
gone.
Oh, there he goes. There goes the former AWA World Heavyweight
We
Champion.
got 3-on-1 here. Berserker, Taker, and IRS working over Hogan.
I think it scores to settle, especially
Hogan,
Taker.
here he goes, the baby face raking him in the eyes.
That's it. Hey,
Well,
every
it
man
was
for
good
himself.
night,
Anything goes. Hey, win if you can, lose if you must, but always cheat, I believe Jesse said. Uh-oh.
Taker
Watch out. There it is. Bye.
lands on his feet like a cat.
And the eyes roll in the back of the head. I love that part.
There goes a Berserker.
Dude, Hulk's coming in cleaning house, man. There goes the shirt.
T-shirt.
Yep.
Now, see, Duggan doesn't bring the board in, but Hogan leaves the shirt in the ring, and it becomes a weapon. And Hulk goes straight for Flair.
Yeah, what is Martel doing in there? Wasn't he already eliminated?
I thought so. Maybe he went through the.
I thought he got thrown over the chat. There goes Virgil. He's out.
Well, they had to eliminate all the prelim guys to get to the main event guys. So,
Skinner.
Yeah, we're getting down. We're getting down to the nitty gritty there, boys.
Old Steve Kern.
Oh yeah, Steve Kern.
I can't help but remember that music video with him, Stan Lane, to the young.
Are you telling me that Skinner's coming out next? Because if you are, I'm really behind.
No, I think Zach did his homework, Bill.
Oh, see, you watched it right before we went on the air, didn't you? You cheat. You cheated.
I watched it 3 times to make sure this thing would play.
I'll tell you what. Steve Kern, the filthy pig Skinner at this point, before he was a member of the Fabulous Ones with Stan Lane, him and a guy by the name of Bob Roop, you talk about a blood war in the old championship wrestling from Florida, and this guy went back to the 70s, man. I mean, him and Bob Roop had wars that I documented. I did a replay of a cage match that they did back in 76. And I never thought I'd ever recreate anything from that far back, but it was just so intrigued me, the war between those two. I just picked a match and did it, and it's on my YouTube page if anybody still ever goes there.
Those guys were bleeding like pigs in your match on the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I tried to make it as legitimately, and a guy by the name of Barry Rose, and if you're watching this, Barry, thank you for doing this. He showed it to Bob Roop, and he showed it to Steve Kern, and they were like, yep, pretty much that's how it went.
At least they figured out that it was a video game, and those guys that hit up Clint, hey, why are you selling and making dolls? Didn't we just get something from Dr. D a while back?
Yeah. Well, I think our brother Clint sort of put the kibosh on that and just kind of set at ease what was really going on.
I mean,
God bless you, Clint. We love you, brother.
They were family members at one point.
Yeah.
Remember
Well,
my
they're very.
Remember
Very
my
good family
response-
friends, I believe, that Dave Schultz is with our
Remember
brother.
my
Clint.
response when I told Clint, "Hey man, just tell him Hulkamania is still running wild all these years."
Oh yeah, that worked. That'll go over like a fart in church.
Well, he is a bounty hunter. He probably tracked me down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would actually say that might actually be a very realistic possibility.
Uh-huh.
Look at that. Hulk out of the corner. He clotheslines Flair and Skinner.
Now here we have babyface Sergeant Slaughter.
All right,
Got his
you're, giving away,
country back.
you're spoiling it here,
Yes,
Zach.
How
You
far
gotta,
back are you guys?
reel it back a little bit there. There he comes. The good guy returns. He's away from Iraq. He's back. He's I want my country back, and he's back with the good side now. He's got the USA wristbands on. He's back, baby. Another Hall of Famer. I mean, look at the guys in this ring. I mean, I don't think Rick Martel is in. I pretty much know that Steve Keirn, who just got eliminated, is out. He's not in the Hall of Fame, but Sergeant Slaughter certainly is former World Wrestling Federation champion who won the title the year prior to this, the exact same day in 91.
So
January
Fair and
19th,
square, by the way.
1991.
a big
Sure.
a big store.
Fair and square, no
square.
interference needed.
Oh,
Nope,
where's
nope.
Jesse Ventura when we need him?
There was no outside interference. There was no kingly scepters, no nothing.
Nothing.
Nope.
Nope.
No madness
Glass
going
struck
on, huh?
from the ceiling. It was fine.
It was
Nope.
absolute madness.
It was a cosmic fireball that got him. It wasn't a scepter. Look at this. Look at Pipes. Flair still holding on. Sarge trying to get rid of him. Sergeant Slaughter, I mean, you go back from his days to the AWA, back when he was in, he had wars in the NWA with Don Kernodle as his partner, with Ricky Steamboat and Jay Youngblood. Before that, he was in arguably one of the bloodiest battles ever at Madison Square Garden with Pat Patterson, the originator of the Royal Rumble, as we've already said,
Yeah,
in the alley fight.
Right?
No, it was an alley fight. It preceded the violence of the boot camp match, but it was along the same lines. It was one of those deals where there was no referee, he was outside the ring, and the only thing was that the ref was there for was to declare a winner, either count the pinfall or say somebody was unable to continue. But as we all know, go back watching that, you guys can probably check it out on YouTube or Peacock here or whatever. It was the Grand Wizard, the Sergeant Slaughter's manager, who threw in the towel. So he was never truly beaten, so to speak. Great match. Here we got another countdown.
And it didn't get spoiled by
There he
Zach, but there's my man.
The former Sid Vicious.
I don't know how I got ahead of you guys so far. Like, if mine's moving faster or what? Because
Well, you're in a different time zone than us. I think you're behind us in a time zone, but you're ahead of us by like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Great Scott! You went back to the future.
It's your kids. Something's got to be done about your kids.
Yeah.
There's a story there we just saw a second ago. Piper and Hogan going at it. Yeah, that's some 1985 all over again.
Darn right. That's right in my wheelhouse, brother. Look at Rick Martel. He was not eliminated. He is still in there. Either that or the refs didn't see it. And after 30 years, I'm just realizing the refs didn't see it, or we did not see him go over the top. I mean, we did see him go over the top, no?
And that's not very nice of Sergeant Slaughter to go after Savage after what Savage did for him the year before.
Well, in the Royal Rumble, it's every man for himself, I believe. Howard Finkel.
All foes.
I may have heard that once or twice before.
Hey guys, this is no ordinary Royal Rumble. This is for the gold.
It's for all the marbles, the
Undisputed
WWF Championship. Hold it up again in case we ever make this into a video. Hold it up. Hold up the prize.
So I just want the viewers to know that this is the 88-89 dual plated. This is not the actual one that was on the line.
Close enough. They had the Wing Eagle Championship, and you're representing it, and well done, Sir Zacharias. Sid, another one that came over from WCW in 1991. He was the referee for the match made in hell at SummerSlam.
And the crowd is solidly behind him.
Oh, of course. At this point, he's a solid babyface. Yeah. I mean, at this point, I thought he was going to win.
Yeah.
Because
he should have won.
I mean, the 10-year-old in me wanted Hogan to win. But like I said, now you go back now and look at it as an adult.
Yeah, the right guy won.
You should have looked at it as a 10-year-old anyway. that Hogan did wrong.
No, because the whole time I was watching, I got to listen to my grandpa the whole time. I don't know how you watch like this. It's all fake.
Now, here comes the guy that we were talking about earlier, the Warlord, former one half of the Powers of Pain. He lost the Phantom of the Opera silver mask, but at this point, I believe our friend the Warlord was absolutely the biggest that he ever was. even when he was with the Powers of Pain.
Bill,
See, I'm lined up
Warlord
with
may
you
have
now.
lost the Phantom of the Opera mask, but he gained a Harvey Wimpleman.
And there's
Which
no
is
greater
about
prize
the
than
same
that.
weight. Which is about the same weight, I would suggest. Downtown Bruno, as it used to be called Memphis. Look at these two out on the floor. Flair taking suplexes on the floor. Tell me this guy is not the man. And they're out on the floor. They have not been eliminated, contrary to what you guys may be thinking. I'm protesting this because I believe Martel was eliminated.
I miss
I'm
that
going to
old
go
ring
on record.
skirt, man. The 80s
Oh, Slaughter gone.
launched.
You're darn right. Sid projected him out of there. That was the old Slaughter bump where he would hit that post and he'd come up and he'd have a face full of blood.
I miss that old 89 through
We're getting down
95
to it,
Royal
boys.
Rumble ring skirt, man.
That purplish red there with the
Yep.
the big yellow block letters there.
Yep.
Look at this. Think about the way he ended his career, talking about Sid in WCW. He faced El Gigante in arguably one of the worst matches I've ever seen in my life at
gosh,
Super Bowl
yeah.
'91. A stretcher match.
With
I don't think
One Man
anybody
Gang
reviewed.
and Kevin Sullivan and
Yep. It was a mess. But
No.
he go ahead.
let's take the rest of this match here. Let's think back as we're fans in 1992, and we see who's left. We have Savage, you have Hogan, you have Flair, you have Sid Justice, you have Roddy Piper. I mean, it is a dream match of all the stars in this match, and you're wondering which one of these guys is going to win the world title.
And it couldn't have been. We mentioned at the top of the show that it wasn't. The stakes were never any higher than this. Even up till '91, the stakes were. You never heard. Well, the guy that there goes the Warlord, all 350 pounds of him. It was never on the line as it was here. And after that, the winner of it didn't get a crack at the WWF Championship. It was just, well, you won the Royal Rumble. Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Hogan won it the last 2 years before this in 90 and 91. There we go. Sid, double duty, pushes them both over. Flair.
Later.
Martel.
Piper and Martel.
Gone.
Yeah.
And
Piper
now it's
Martel.
the nitty gritty.
We're down to the final four. Sid,
Yep.
Macho Man, Ric Flair, and Hulk Hogan.
The double main events at WrestleMania. We just don't know it yet.
Yep.
And honestly, the two that are facing each other, the four that are facing each other right now, I honestly would have rather seen Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan, which I understand. And there goes Savage. He's done. I would have rather seen, believe it or not, I'd rather seen Hogan versus Flair because I believe that was actually what was supposed to be.
That's what was supposed to happen.
All that
And I
build
wouldn't
up.
have minded Savage versus Sid at WrestleMania 8.
Nope.
Wonder what they could have done for a story
Do
there.
that
I
flip.
guess they could have gone back to the wedding reception when Sid stepped in to help Savage and built off of that.
And listen
done
to this
something.
eruption.
Here it comes.
There it goes.
There it is.
Listen to
The Hulk
that
stood
eruption
out.
by those fans in New
chimed
York.
in.
You can't
Boo.
defend that, Zach. I know you were a Hulk
Oh.
Hogan fan back then as a 4-year-old, but I mean, you can't take that away. Fourth grader, but you can't
Yeah.
take that away. Sid took him out legit.
Yeah.
Did I say 4-year-old? I meant fourth grader.
I still see in the
I'm really
Coliseum.
sorry. I'm really sorry. He said, "Look at
Uh-huh.
Hulk, the spiteful guy that he is."
That guy in the front row holding up
Here
the
it
Hulk
comes.
Boo sign and Sid
Here it
acknowledges that
comes.
later.
There it
With an
is,
assist.
and there it was.
History just
The-
got made. Bobby Heenan's beside him. Sid.
Yes. Wait. Let me do this.
I told you. Unbelievable.
We'll do the interview afterwards. We got to do that with the
Yeah.
tear in my eye. We got to do that.
Hulk coming back in the ring. Like I said, you go back and look at it now as an adult, like, what a sore loser.
Well, you
I
know,
think
hanging
it's
some
around
of,
never
us
be much
had,
better.
long.
some of us knew Hogan was good for nothing after he tried stealing Elizabeth from the Macho Man, but some
Oh,
of us
boy.
catch on a little bit later than the others. So it's okay, Zach.
Well, here comes your shouldn't have been the main event. Main event begin right here, right now.
Look at, and
Well,
look at
actually-
those fans behind Sid.
Yep.
So for those of us watching on Peacock,
Mhm.
this is going to kind of just take off here a little bit between Sid and Hogan. We are due for an ad any second now here on Peacock. So what we're going to do is I'm going to flash on the screen to pause and then push play again because no need to hear us during a commercial. But I will put on the screen when to pause and when to push play.
Call him a big chicken.
And then somebody out in the front row's got a sign that says Hulk Who, and he acknowledges it. Sid points right to him.
Yep.
Yeah, the crowd's
That was
booing.
an old Randy. That was an old Randy Savage saying, "Oh, cool."
Coliseum home video patched in cheers on the home video version of this. This is the live pay-per-view. And they're cheering for Sid.
That's a good call right there, Zach. That is a good call right there.
It hurt him to say that, Bill. It pains him.
But you know what? He's 100% right. That was the actual live feed in the Coliseum video, pumped in the crowd favoritism for Hogan. But that was the real. That was the
right here.
unfiltered,
Sid's pointing to
unabridged
the guy.
version.
Look at that sign. Hogan says Hulk Who.
The tide was starting to turn. The tide was starting to turn as far as Hulk's impact. The Hulkamania thing was really starting to wear thin. And I really believe that that's what led to the whole him going to do the Hollywood thing for a while, for a year, and it was just time for him to step aside, at least for a while.
Sid was he was welcomed with open arms as soon as he got to the WWF the summer before.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so for those of you watching with us on Peacock, again, stay tuned. I'm going to put a memo on the screen when to push play again. We're going to pause at any moment here.
Okay. We'll be waiting.
I'm on the interview right now, so yeah, I'll wait on you guys.
All right.
Okay, well, I'm on the promo too. Bill, are you there?
I am on the promo.
Okay.
Here we go.
All right, here we go.
Rumble, we have a brand new World Wrestling Federation champion as the press watches on.
Is my sound off?
To present the title belt to the new champion, our president,
sounds on.
distinguished Jack Tunney.
I mean, is it in sync with the video?
I'm becoming the undisputed champion of the
I'm
World
in sync with
Wrestling
you. I can hear it.
Federation.
Okay.
Let me just say, after viewing the starting
I love this part.
the belt, they're proclaiming the real world champion. I'm going to tell you all.
With a tear in my eye.
In my eye.
This is the greatest moment.
And he meant every word of that.
Everybody in this segment except for Ric Flair has passed away.
That's very true.
Sad to think about it.
It's to be number one. And this is the only title in the wrestling world that makes you
Well, you can tell Henning and Heenan are happy for him.
of the WWF. You rule.
It was like new life got breathed into him going to WWF.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. All right, I wanted to get that, but I'm going to lay out of that, let him go ahead and talk. But listen, that whole part right there, that was a shoot.
Oh, yeah.
He said that this is the greatest moment of my life. Yes. And he meant that was a shoot. That was every single word he meant of that.
We hate to tell you so.
Not the kind of guys that like to say, we told you so. But
told you so.
Told you so.
Put that cigarette out, buddy.
That was my put that cigarette out.
It's the greatest moment of my life. I want to jump. I want to party.
I want to meet up with Liz.
For the Hulk Hogans and the Macho Mans and the Pipers and the Sids. Now it's Ric Flair and y'all.
Pay homage to the man. Woo! Love it. 30 years ago.
Wow.
Wow. Unbelievable.
What a great Royal Rumble. They don't make them like that anymore.
Nope. And you made a great point, a very sobering point, but everybody in that picture, other than the guy that was actually doing the interview, the guy that was talking, is no longer with us. And that is a very sobering point.
I want to believe that the guy that Mean Gene was telling to put the cigarette out had to have been Pat Patterson.
Probably. I would say there.
With us.
Nope. He's no longer with us. They're showing highlights now at the end. You know, they're going through the event and everything. I pretty much just turned mine off. But what an event. I mean, it was great going back and watching that. It brought back a lot of memories. Some of the things I actually forgot about, like the part where I thought I saw Rick Martel fly over the top rope. I don't want to belabor that point, but apparently he wasn't. Him and Roddy Piper were eliminated by Sid. So going back now, guys, we watched it for the first time. Well, Zach watched it a few hours ago, but for the first time we watched it in 30 years. You're your impressions of watching it now versus watching it back then. Zach, we'll start with you.
Still holds up. It still holds up over
Oh
time.
yeah. Like I said, man, going back and watching it when I was 10, just the excitement of not knowing then what was going to happen, and just legit being a fan that, didn't know what was, obviously, as we're older now, we kind of know the magic behind all of it.
Right. Mark?
Well, yeah, it definitely holds up over time. This was just a big staple in Ric Flair's career. He'd be in the WWF the rest of the year, then he would leave about a year later and go back to WCW, and WWF would kind of go through a change for a couple of years until the Attitude Era kicked in. But again, you watch it through 1992 eyes. You had Savage, Sid, Hogan, Piper, all there at the end. And you were just, what are they going to do? Are they going to give it to Flair? Are they going to let Flair win? I mean, we were Crockett NWA fans, so we were kind of like, oh, yeah, great. Ric Flair's there. No duh. But like you said, Bill, there were many fans who were watching this who didn't know who Ric Flair was.
I did not know who he was.
Yeah, and those people were definitely cheering for Hogan or Savage or Taker or whoever. So it was just, looking back at it with 1992 eyes, just a great show, a great match, and it stands the test of time. And that promo, the tear in your eye, tear in my eye, you just don't get any better than that. That is Ric Flair in his prime.
Yeah.
Well, the commentary with Monsoon and Heenan just made
that. And I'm glad you mentioned that. The commentary throughout, from the time it started to the time it ended, I don't think they were ever. I would say that WrestleMania 8 they were on point, but I don't think they were ever any better together than in this event.
Kiss the goodbye, brain.
Yeah, that was. Oh my God, I still love that part. For me. Trying to be the historian that I am, I've always had an affinity for the Royal Rumble. It's always been one of my favorite WWF events. And I've seen a lot of good ones from the beginning up until recent times. I always point back to this just simply because of the way it was executed. The commentary just absolutely carried the atmosphere. The fact that in order to shut Brain up, Flair's got to be eliminated. But if he gets eliminated, will the Brain have an aneurysm, or will he have a stroke, or will he try to go after Monsoon? What'll happen? Going back, looking at this through almost 48-year-old eyes, if you can believe that, this to me was a testament. I mentioned it briefly earlier in the show that to me that was a testament that Vince had the confidence in a guy that he knew from the rival company that could be the flagship for his company.
Oh, yeah.
It was a huge statement from Vince to Ric Flair, the fact that he brought Flair in. And Mark, you mentioned it briefly too about how when he came in, Zach, I think you touched on it too, that his confidence was at an all-time low after his departure from WCW with Hurd. And I think that victory, that award, that vote of confidence that Vince put on Flair there, when he said this is the greatest moment of my life, he has said it, and I will echo that statement. It was the greatest moment of his life because he became vindicated. What they tried to do to him in WCW at the later stage in 91, that was, he went from hell to heaven in what, 6 months? 7 months.
He said that year and a half he was there, he said it was the most fun he'd ever had.
Yeah. And that again was, in my estimation, and you guys can agree, or if you guys think about it, it really solidified and vindicated a guy who at that point everybody knew for the most part through After Mags or whatever who Ric Flair was. And Zach, as you mentioned, you really didn't get to see Flair, and a lot of WWF fans back then really didn't get to see Flair actually work. They got to see him periodically in magazines. If you didn't have TBS or didn't tune into TBS or didn't have the syndicated shows, this here was his coming out party as far as an in-ring worker. We saw him at the Survivor Series. We saw him in an elimination match. But he was in there for what, an hour and 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Roughly? Yeah. So he only beat Martel by, say, about a minute or two. But It was his coming out party. He became the 60-minute man all over again, just on a WWF platform.
See, and I told Mark it wasn't until after WrestleMania I didn't start paying attention to WCW. I told you guys during our Great American Bash 90 show that we did. And fans, if you hadn't had a chance to go watch that, definitely go give that a watch. But I'd mentioned in that I had a friend in the 4th grade, hey, you need to start watching WCW and take a look at what these guys are doing. And, you know, I told Mark, I said, Hogan left. What do I do now? And I started watching them, and man, 92, what a year for, you know, WCW. And I know we got some stuff we're talking about doing coming up for some anniversary shows.
Mark,
Well,
what do you
sounds like
think?
a date, guys. I think we have our next show planned for the late February. Sounds
We
like
do.
a good one.
Yeah.
So on
I
or
want
about
to
the
take
end
a
of
moment and thank everybody for watching along with us.
Yep.
It's the first time we did this, and we may have made a few minor mistakes, but we'll tighten up the ship for you next time. But thanks everybody for taking the time and watching along with us. That really means a lot.
You guys
And,
got to remember when we do these, we're watching it through the eyes of fans. So the kid in us comes out again.
And
yeah, absolutely.
we hope that as you listen to us banter about, and you know, we thank you guys for tuning into the Wrestling Network as you do and following our page. Mark has got a tremendous amount of content coming out soon, which we hope he posts to the page as soon as possible. Wink, wink. We have a lot of these things that we want to do. You know, we want your comments on them when we post it, your memories about it. You know, we definitely want to get your guys' take on it. And if you want to hear more of these, we do plan on doing one for Super Brawl 2 toward the end of February. Obviously, again, there is no leap year this year, so maybe on or about the 28th. So we'll do that. But I had a blast doing this, guys. I think coming in, I really didn't know what to expect, but I did know that 3 of us being the fans of this old school era that we were, there'd be no doubt that we'd be all enjoying it together. So for everybody here, for Zach, for Mark, for Bilski, Bill Knight, myself, thank you guys for tuning in. It's been an honor and a pleasure to bring this to you, and we'll be back again for Super Brawl 2 in February. Thanks for
Good night,
watching. Thanks
everybody.
for listening.
Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.
Later.